Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in UFRL for the 100% Realistic Cars League tonight. Or it's here, should I say. And it will be at the Marina Bay, held in Singapore. A very challenging downforce track for these drivers to navigate their way through, with more than 3 miles per lap. 62 laps in total. These drivers will be amassing more than 190 miles of action here at Singapore this evening. It'll be a long distance race, of course, so settle yourselves down and grab some popcorn because this might take a long time. Typically Singapore will be the longest track, well, not the longest track, but the longest race in a normal typical season. Thank you, Feel the Beats, for the follow. We have got everything set up to go. So 3 drivers out onto the track, 2 AlphaTauris, Mr. Poem and Link's Peace. And we have the McLaren of Doug leading their way out. And let's just have a little look, shall we, at the Drivers' Championship as well, which I know full well Hazer is leading, but what is the gap to be exact? It is a gap of 44 points over Rusted Bolt and a gap of 49 points over UFRL Merc, who is driving in the Haas in this Grand Prix. Rusted Bolt in the Alfa Romeo. They're currently P8 and P10 on your driver list, whilst of course Hazer leading the way is right down the middle of them in P9 in the Williams. First time he's driving outside of an AlphaTauri this season. The explanation for that really is that the Williams, this isn't really a track to suit the Williams compared to an AlphaTauri. With the Williams preferring the top speed, obviously Singapore is not well suited to a top speed circuit, so therefore it makes sense. The Williams lacks the balance really compared to the AlphaTauri as well. It must be key to add, but it's still very close between them. But if you can get the max out of your car, the AlphaTauri and the Williams around this circuit won't be too much of a margin. Same between Alfa Romeo and Haas. There's quite similar between them in terms of their car performance. So again, if you can extract the best lap times possible, you'll probably be on your way to a good performance. Especially given that it is typically the tier 1 drivers in those cars. Doug at the moment on his hot laps. The 2 AlphaTauris are in behind as well. Although I think Late Bloomer and Prez also on laps. But yeah, the top 3 of the championship are the ones trying to catch up really. Rusted Bolt and Merc catching Hazer. Hazer had I can't say a poor last couple of races because he did get 2nd place at Monza. But he's only got 1 win in 4 Grand Prix, and take into account that he had won 7 of the opening 10 races this season. So the fact he's only managed 1 win in 4 since then, is Hazer on a downfall spiral here. It's Doug fast lap of 31.6 in the McLaren. He could definitely go quicker than that, I'm sure. And let's see what the AlphaTauri duo can do. Mr. Poem will be the first of the duo to pass the line, and he will come in at a 1:30.9. He will go 7 tenths ahead. And now his teammate Link's Peace will go flying through. So how will Link's Peace do in his quali lap? Well, there will be a 1:30.4, and that puts him half a second up on his teammate out of turn 19. So Rusted Bolt starting his lap in the Alfa Romeo as well into turn 1 at the moment. Down for the turns 1 and 2 chicane and exiting out of turn 3. He's looking quite nice and tight, of course. Turn 4 is only a little bend, which leads into turn 5, which is the main bend, which leads onto the main straight. More times being posted. Late Bloomer 32.1 goes 4th. Fast Prez takes that away from him. It's a 31.7. And that will leave him in P4 as well. Let's head down to, well, it would have been Volkor Warrior, not on a lap. And Verstappen also in the Williams. That'll be interesting though. How do Verstappen and Hazer do in the Williams, given that the balance of the car won't be as good as the AlphaTauris typically will be tonight? Doug still there in P3 and still on track, but he is taking it nice and slowly, as you'd expect, as Hazer does go quickest. A 1:30.275, only a couple of tenths up on Link's Peace. But Hazer is the man to beat at the moment. And Verstappen goes quicker than him, 130.045. And Verstappen, 2.5 tenths almost quicker than Hazer. So it is the two Williams who are 1 and 2 at the moment. Let's check in with DD Friend, who goes 8th fastest. Sergeant Dempsey still in the pits, but DD Friend currently at the back of it. But he is now pushing on a hot lap. Volcor Warrior is in sector 2 at the moment as well, and Russell Bolt is on a lap and just exiting out of turn 19. And the Alfa Romeo will go into the top 5. It's a 31.450. So quite a few drivers have got to get some more pace, it seems. But how many of them have gone for the perfect lap? Not too many, you would imagine. Of course, the early stages of qualifying. But with it being a longer track distance, effectively, not as long as it would have previously been. Let's take that into account. Last year's game without the quick sector 3 now, which of course leads turn 14 into turn 15 and turn 16 as well. Didn't of course have that on the previous game. Turn 15 was effectively the start of another sequence of corners. Volcor Warrior goes 8th fastest in the Ferrari. But yeah, on the previous game of course, and before that, it was turn 15 where you would have another sequence of corners. I think there were, well, 3 corners in there, or 2 or 3, and it would just increase the lap time even further. Brewdog out on a set of medium tyres. He does typically do this as well, to be fair to him, so not a major surprise on WBA Brewdog's behalf to go for the medium tyres. But it is still the two Williams who are in the top 2. Here comes DD Friend, a 32.3, which will put him in P10 for the Red Bull. You've got Sergeant Devsey, who is just taking it nice and slowly. Merck, not taking it as slowly, it has to be said. And Brewdog out there as well. Maybe Merck just wanting to start a lap, get into the pit, and can start his final lap with a couple of minutes to go. That may be the aim for the Haas this afternoon, or this evening, shall we say, not this afternoon. It's not quite that early now, is it? Right, Hazer is again going to push on for another lap. Can he go quicker than Verstappen using the same set of tyres? Again, a typical strategy from Hazer. So Hazer typically goes for a couple of extra laps. Brewdog typically goes for the mediums at the start. Mr. Poem and Merck do typically go for an outlap as well, but it doesn't look like Mr. Poem went for an outlap. He went straight in for a formal lap on that occasion. And Merck is about to start his lap as well. Prez in there. Brewdog starting his lap, so we'll have a check-in with Merck. Is anybody else on a lap? I think it may just be Hazer, unless Doug is as well. Let's have a little look with him. But he's definitely not. So out of fuel, in fact, is the McLaren. I want to make sure he gets into the pits before the Red Bull comes around. The Red Bull just behind him. So that'll be either DD Friend or Devsey. Might be Sergeant Devsey, in fact. But he is into the pits anyways. Let's therefore go up towards Hazer. It'll be a bit interesting seeing him in a Williams, though. No doubt about it. Of course, he's typically in the AlphaTauri. But he is improving through the Sector 2 split time. But can he get ahead of his teammate Verstappen? More than 0.2 of a second between them. But what will Hazer gain here at turns 18 and 19? And onto the straight of the Marina Bay, he does go quickest as a 130.038, 7 thousandths of a second, separating Hazer ahead of Verstappen. Great lap there to just edge out his teammate. And let's see, as Glue is about to finish his lap, he goes P7, and Rusted Bolt also directly behind him. He goes 4th fastest at 130.7. Maybe was hoping that he wouldn't be right behind Glue at that. But Glue was on a lap as well. So they were both on laps. Bolt did go 1 second quicker than Glue on that occasion. Let's drop down towards Merck. He's definitely not going to go quickest because he is now starting another lap. He did in fact go for an outlap. And WBA Brewdog on the mediums goes P11 at 32.343. And also Late Bloomer is on with a 32.1, but he is just starting a lap as well. So 3 drivers in close proximity there, either ending or starting their laps. How about the 2 Red Bulls at the moment? DD Friend improving by almost 1 second at the Sector 2 split, but has invalidated, and he did definitely go wide, and he has not got enough battery to compensate for anyways. So I think the likelihood is that DD Friend may go back into the pit, and a quicker time was posted. And it was Sergeant Devsey And Sergeant Devsey has flew into the top 6 of 31.5. An immaculate lap from him. And I'm sure he'll be happy with that to go ahead best of the rest effectively, as William always says about me, in the international tier. But that was Sergeant Devsey right there, going P6, just ahead of Doug by 11 thousandths of a second. Let's see, where is Merck at the moment? He will be coming round pretty quickly. Sector 2, he is gaining by 3.8 seconds. So it'll be interesting how quickly can Merck pull in the Williams duo. Of course, again, him and the Alfa Romeo, as you would expect, to be performing at similar levels. So who will come out on top between himself and Rusted Bolt? But here comes UFRL Merck. He will lead into turns 18 and out of turn 19, which is all out, and he goes 5th fastest. Very close between them both, 13 thousandths of a second. Not too surprised about that, in all fairness. So let's see, as the Ferrari has just finished a lap, and that will be a late bloomer. He does improve enough actually to go 9th fastest at 31.5. He gained by 7 tenths of a second, not 7 thousandths. Don't say 7 thousandths, but it's clearly not. Good improvement there from the Ferrari, and the Red Bulls coming around. Sergeant Devsey again, of course, he did improve, and currently in P7. Will he go into the pits, or is he trying to recharge that battery? If he's trying to recharge the battery, then he's not really recharged it too well, I'll be honest. Yeah, he is going into the pits. We have just under 6 minutes to go in qualifying, so we are 2/3 into the session. And back towards the Alpha Tower, his links piece, taking it slowly, but he has plenty of battery to go again. That was not his outlap either. He's not going again, he is going into the pit, so he will just go for the one solitary lap for links piece to push on at the end. So into the pits he goes, and you'd expect Merck to follow that up as well. I think he has run out of fuel. But he has got a gap to the 2 Ferraris behind him. Oh, with Late Bloomer letting Folklore Warrior through. Folklore Warrior not on a lap at the moment, but he will be amongst in fact, he probably will be the next driver to start a lap, as both Merck and Late Bloomer are on in-laps here. So we'll wait on Folklore Warrior to start his lap, but yeah, let's see how things go. It is the 2 Williams at the moment, heading the field 4 tenths of a second to Link's Peace. It'd be an interesting one to see if anybody can catch those 2 Williams. Again, it was a little bit more... It's an interesting one to see the battles between the Williams and the AlphaTauris in general. I think obviously they would have to adjust the setups to suit that Williams car, which surely must have been what they have been doing. But the Williams did seem to be the car lacking the balance compared to AlphaTauri, and in particular compared to Alfa Romeo and Haas. Those 2 cars didn't feel that bad actually. Alfa Romeo and Haas, they felt better. Well better than the Haas, they felt. Not well better than the Haas, they're well better than the Williams. The AlphaTauri felt okay though, I'll be honest. The AlphaTauri felt okay, the Haas felt okay, and the Alfa Romeo felt okay. It was just the AlphaTauri that seemed to be not the AlphaTauri, the Williams. The Williams was a bit of a struggle, particularly in Sector 2, I felt, is where the Williams may have the struggles, really. Through those tricky corners, where Folklore Warrior is just exiting out of now. But yeah, you've got a sequence of corners there where the Williams is likely to struggle, so if you could take advantage of that, you've got a chance to beat them. But they are the 2 heading the field at the moment. But then again, could make a case that is it the 2 quickest drivers in there at the moment? Possibly so. I mean, Hayes are obviously battling a Tier 1 championship with Pesci. He may feel like he is probably the quickest on track, and Verstappen will feel like he's in the top 2 for sure. So there you go. They'll feel like they are the 2 quickest. But Folklore Warrior has gone an impressive 4th fastest in the Ferrari. 1 minute 30.542. Sadly for him, he won't have enough fuel to push on again. And now we'll see what everybody else can do. There's a Red Bull. There's Sergeant Devsey not on a lap. TD Friend, I don't think he's on a lap because he is recharging that battery. So We're definitely going to go back into the pits. What about the two Mercedes? Brewdog is certainly pushing hard here. I think Doug is about to start a lap, so we'll go back towards Brewdog then. He is improving by 8.5 tenths of a second, so will he get himself into the 130s here? WBA Brewdog 1 minute 31.3. He goes into 8th position. Decent lap there from him, but he may yet drop down the field. And his teammate Prez is ahead of DD Friend on that time as well. So let's see what Prez can do. Exiting out, and it's a 1:31.4. It's a tenth of a second between Brewdog ahead of Prezi, and they are P8 and P9. Oh, and Prez is round, in fact, into turn 1, so not ideal. But anyways, he's not going to improve on that time. Just under 2 minutes to go in qualifying here. And Glue also starting a lap, and I believe Volcor Warrior is that Ferrari going slowly in Sector 3. He'll be about to go into the pit as he has run out of fuel. Link's piece there. Mr. Poem is going to start his lap as well. Just under 90 seconds of qualifying remaining, meaning if you haven't started your lap now, you've only got the 1 run to go. So everybody, Mr. Poem downwards, are effectively going to start their final laps. But who else is on a lap? Brewdog's not, and I don't think he's not recharging battery. He is going to be reverting back into the pit lane here for the Mercedes. Prez will also likely follow suit. He's not recovering battery, and also his fuel light is also on. So the two Mercedes likely have both finished. Glue is on a lap here in the Aston Martin. So with that in mind, I think it would only be fair to stick with him, as Brewdog has retired in the pit lane, and his teammate Prez may very soon follow suit in that department. But here we go with Glue currently all the way, just kick-starting Sector 3 and into turn 16 and 17 through the right-left chicane, which will lead you on to the corners here round at turns 18 and 19. And where can Glue go? Can he challenge up the field as a 130.8? He does set a sub 131. It's into 7th position here for Glue. And now we've got the... Oh, so our Rusted Bolt will start a lap with about 6 or 7 seconds to go. But now you cannot start a final lap. Mr. Poem is improving by over 4 tenths of a second. So how high up can the AlphaTauri go? That is the question here. Certainly improving nicely, and Mr. Poem goes third fastest at 130.405. It's a brilliant lap player from him. Link's piece also improving by about a tenth of a second through the Sector 1 split. And you think the two Williams will be ones to watch, with Verstappen massively improving. He's pushing hard. Pushing incredibly hard, you've got to say. This is a stonking lap here, 29.245. And Verstappen is dominating the field. Brilliant time here. Hazer is improving by 2.5 tenths, but he's not going to be improving enough to beat off Verstappen here. I think it will be a Williams 1 and 2, but I don't think Hazer is going to challenge with Verstappen here this evening. He will be the 29s, but only a 29.6. I say only, but it's still a P2 for Hazer. And let's see what Link's piece can do. And a Haas behind as well. You've got UFRL Merc. I'm sure he'll be improving. And how high up can he go? Can he go to the 29, so 130.4 and goes P5. And Link's piece is definitely improving by more than 3 tenths. And he goes third fastest at 130.198. Looks like the two Williams are the ones heading the field. Rusted Bolt also massively gaining. And he does go into third place as well. Onto the second row goes the Alfa Romeo, and Glue into the pit. I think that is qualifying over. Rusted Bolt right at the end there, just ahead of the two AlphaTauris, but it is a Williams 1 and 2. Verstappen, what a phenomenal lap time from him. 4 tenths of a second quicker than Hazer. Hazer battling with Pesci for the championship in Tier 1, don't forget. Brilliant from Verstappen there. And he'll be the one that everybody will be looking to try and beat in this race. That's a fantastic lap there, though. Superbly done from Verstappen, and that is why he is going to be the man to beat in this evening's race. But Hazer will be trying to keep up with him, and the two Williams will be heading Bolt who will be heading 2 drivers behind in the form of the AlphaTauris. But there you go. Wow, Verstappen. Immaculate pace from him, 29.245. And that is the man on top of the podium for the start of qualifying. And let's drop it down, and Hazer starts second from Russell Bolt in the Alfa Romeo. But quite a gap, I've got to say. 4th place Links Peace and 5th for Mr. Poem, with the Haas of Merck starting in P6. 7th and the 4th row for Volcore Warrior in the Ferrari, who was well clear of the Aston Martin of Glue, who has out-qualified Doug in a McLaren, only 9th place. And the Red Bull Sergeant Devsey starts in the top 10. Then it is the 2 Mercedes of Brewdog and Prezi Prez, then the Ferrari of Didi Friend, and lastly it is the Ferrari of Late Bloomer. So there you go, 14 drivers all done for their qualifying, and it is going to be dry, at least for the start of the race. No confirmation as to whether or not we're due for any rain. I presume probably not. But then again, drivers do sometimes like to surprise us and not tell us if there is going to be any rain. But that was a very impressive time, 29.245, well clear of Hazer even. You know how quick Hazer is. The fact is, Verstappen was much faster. But it'll be interesting though, how will Williams do once it comes to the race? Because don't forget, that car, in terms of their stability over the course of a full race distance, it'll be interesting how will that fare against the likes of the AlphaTauris, the Alfa Romeos and the Haas in particular, as those 3 cars do seem to have better balance, it seems. So let's see what happens. 62 laps of action, therefore I'm definitely going to take a little break and I'll be back in a couple of minutes time. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is 8:31 p.m. and therefore the drivers have been told to ready up. So we are going to be moments away from kick-starting this event, and who will be leading? Surely it's going to be one of those pesky Williams drivers at the front into turn one. But which one? Would it be Verstappen or would it be Hazer? Or would it be neither? With the Alfa Romeo of Rusted Bolt, second in the championship. He starts P3, and it is the two Alpha Tauris behind, with Merck in 6th place as well. That's your top 6, and let's see what happens right at the start. Here we go for the Marina Bay. More than 3 miles per lap, 62 laps in total, 190 miles for this race, and here we go. It's 5 lights. And a bit of a wait, and it's go, 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 and Verstappen gets away well, but Hazer will try and compete with that one, with a Ferrari slow in the background, side by side into turns 1 and 2, but it is Hazer who takes Verstappen into first, bit of contact formed between them, but Hazer holds the lead, and Verstappen stays 2nd place. Brilliant opening start to this race, and Hazer continues to flow through beyond turn 5, and it is a Williams 1 and 2, with Link's Piece taking Russell Bolt for 3rd place, and here comes Verstappen, challenging round the outside on Hazer. Will he be able to take him into turn 7 through the Memorial Corner? Off goes Hazer, and he's well off and dropping down out of the top 10 and down to last in 13th place is Hazer. He has got a mountain to climb. Verstappen leads on lap 1 heading into turn 10 down the Singapore Sling, and Link's Piece and Rusted Bolt are right there with them. Brilliant start. Hazer has got work to do, but he does take Prez on the soft tyres, might I add. He is now in P12, but wow, Hazer not with the best of starts, but he is P12 and catching Sergeant Devsey now. Devsey has got a little gap to his teammate DD Friend ahead, but he is starting to close that back in. Let's drop down towards Doug in the McLaren, keeping the pressure on Glue at the moment. The gap is less than 0.4 of a second. Glue has dropped away from Poem, and Poem is certainly dropping away from the top 4, with Merck overtaking Poem and making a move into the top 4. Good start though from Verstappen in the lead on the hards. Links in 2nd place has made a positive start, and Merck in 4th as well. Great starts from those 3 in this Grand Prix. Let's have a little look at the position changes, and there you go. It is up 2 for Links and up 2 for Merck. Glue and Doug also up 2, as is Brewdog, up 3 for DD Friend, who has had the best of starts, the most places gained in this race from him. Let's see again, so let's go back to the tyre situation, I think, and it is mostly medium tyres on, just Verstappen on the hards in P1 and Hazer on softs, currently in P12. He is trying to make a challenge to Sergeant Devsey. Let's see if he's going to be able to make the opportunistic move. He was having a little look on it down into turn 8, but he hasn't quite got it. But the Red Bull is trying to fight him for the better traction. A narrow line from the Red Bull, which gives Hazer the opportunity that he needs, and it will be a lovely move. Will it be into the turn 10 Singapore Sling? Yes, it will. Hazer up into 11th place, taking Devsey. A brilliant piece of racing. And there you go, the up and under, brilliant stuff. And the Williams can track down the Red Bull of DT Friend, who is currently in the top 10 in this race. Let's go back up again and see if Glue can take Mr. Poem here. The Aston Martin is certainly looking to challenge that AlphaTauri. But Verstappen has the gap of 0.8 of a second to Links, who is 1.2 seconds ahead of Rusted Bolt. And Brewdog has made a move on Volcor Warrior, fed up of staying behind on lap 2, and Brewdog is up into 8th place. Yes, only lap 2, may I add. Verstappen 35.031, fastest lap of the race. I think Hazer will try and take that away, but again, he's only on soft, so he's got some room to grow. Volcor Warrior having another look, but unable to quite make the move. Some good starts around the field. Verstappen in particular, Links, Merck as well, both getting away very well. DD Friend, of course, has gained 4 places off the start and is up there as Prez now takes Sergeant Devsey, and Devsey has ran a bit wide, which could give Bloomer the chance he needs. They are running side by side now, and Late Bloomer takes him before the turn at turn 6, and therefore Late Bloomer is up to 13th, but Sergeant Devsey has dropped down 2 positions to the Mercedes and the Ferrari as a result. Let's go to this trio now. Falco, Warrior, Brewdog and DD Friend, and make it a quadruple because Hazer's in there as well. And no soft tyres will be pouring down the rain. No rain on track, but they'll be pouring down the rain and the pressure effectively on the trio up ahead. What can Hazer do? He has got the slipstream of the Red Bull. They will get DRS, don't forget, but so will DD Fred, so will Brewdog, but Hazer has the better line and the acceleration he needs to make the move into turn 14. Down the outside and through goes Hazer. He takes DD Friend and up into the top 10 now. Hazer has made inroads on both Sergeant Devsey and DD Friend, the two Red Bulls losing out, and Hazer's next challenge will be WBA Brewdog in that Mercedes. So Hazer is starting to put in drivers, making two moves since a slip on lap 1, and that would have been down through a turn 7. So what can Glue do? Still keeping the pressure on Mr. Poe, but unable to make the move on the AlphaTauri here. And Verstappen has now got the gap at 1.5 seconds on Link's piece. But Verstappen does seem to have exceptional pace at this track. Hazer as well, to be fair, does seem to have very strong pace. But Verstappen has the ultimate pace, no doubt about it. So it's a brilliant start for quite a few drivers, but some of them have had struggles here. Sergeant Devsey currently down in last place, obviously Hazer. Maybe there was contact between himself and Verstappen, which could cause Verstappen to potentially get a penalty, but was there contact is the first question. If not, then Hazer would have went off by himself, but again, I cannot be certain if there was or was not any contact. But he is now catching up to WBA Brewdog as the McLaren of Doug goes a little bit wide on the exit of turn 13, but he's still keeping his car under control. We'll go back towards Hazer then, who is now on the rear of WBA Brewdog. That Mercedes will come under heaps of pressure now. And can the Williams of Hazer make his way through? He's not going to make it through just yet into turn 16, so we will have to wait around. But don't forget, Falco, Warrior and Brewdog have both lost touch of the top 7. A gap of 2 seconds between Falco and Doug up ahead. And Doug obviously is in DRS range of the likes of Glue and Mr. Poem as well. Speaking of which, Glue was very much closing the gap there. Oh, but he's gone off! Off goes Glue! And that will give a fundamental opportunity for Doug to make the move. But Doug has to hold him behind. Does Glue get a DRS? I think he may just about get DRS, but Doug will be looking to make a move on him. There you go, and as you can see, the rear wing is open for Glue, but he doesn't have any battery. But he is still ahead. But further behind, here comes Hazer down the inside of WBA Brewdog, and he has just about executed the move. And again, 3 places gained now from Hazer since his earlier slip on lap 1, and up into 9th place goes the Williams. And next up will be Falco Warrior, who has still got some time to gain on the 2 ahead, or well, the 3 ahead effectively, although Glue did have a slip into turn 1, of course, where he went off track. A battle for second place at the moment between Link's Piece, Rusted Bolt and Merc, but all of them have a steady gap to each other, to be fair, just under 1 second between all 3 of them. Merc is fighting, however, to stay in the DRS here. And obviously this battle, Mr. Poem, Glue and Doug, all weighing up their options of what strategy do you go for. Is it a 1-stop? Do you opt for a potential 2-stop strategy here? Oh! And Rusted Bolt has made a mistake! And it is into the pit. It must be front wing damage for the Alfa Romeo. He dropped behind Merc and is now into the pits. It's a very slow pit stop as well, I've got to say. Entering the pits, he must have dropped well below the 50 and 37 mile per hour mark. And he is not changing his wing. He's onto fresh mediums, but no change of front wing. And I get the feeling that he will not be very happy with that, because he probably had it set on auto, but clearly the auto did not want to change his wing, so I'm pretty certain he may be in next lap to change that wing. But sadly for him, he is now running down a P14. There's a group of drivers here, Falco, Hazer, Brewdog and DD Friend, all running closely to each other. Of course, Hazer is the one to watch. Soft tyres as well. But now Verstappen has more than 3 seconds on Link's piece. Verstappen is looking absolutely rapid. I think he would definitely cause Pesci and Hazer a challenge in Tier 1 if he ever raced in Tier 1. He is a Tier 1 reserve, but he doesn't really ever race there, so we'll never quite know what his overall pace would be, but pretty sure it would be somewhere around Hazer and Pesci, maybe even quicker than them. If he were to race, he would definitely bring some sparks to the racing. I'm sure about that. Oh, a little bit of a slip there from Mr. Poem, and that will give Glue a chance. If he can get the exit, he needs out of turns 18 and 19, which he definitely can do. Has he got a chance here? He'll look round the outside on Mr. Poem, but Poem holds the inside line. So the Aston Martin of Glue not quite able to make the overtake. Glue riding in the car, but Doug is also closing that gap up. But here and again, Glue going for the outside line this time, whereas Mr. Poem did hold the typical racing line that keeps Mr. Poem ahead. But now they are all starting to close the gap behind as well. Folklore Warrior is just trying to keep Hazer behind him as well. The gaps have certainly been formed ahead, and I was correct, Russell Bolt is into the pit, and I believe he has now changed it so that his front wing will be replaced. But sadly, he's dropped from P3 effectively down to last place, but at least he gets the front wing. Hopefully. Yeah, the game is definitely changing his wing here. But he's back onto the medium tyres that he was on previously, so clearly hoping for some form of safety car to help him later on in the race, because he is going to be about almost 3/4 of a lap down on Verstappen, so a long way to go for Rusty Bolt here. Let's go up towards Glue, who is continuing to apply the pressure on Mr. Poem, a pressure cooker really. Still unable to make the overtake. Doug is happily watching in behind, hoping and praying something may happen for Doug to see him sail past both drivers here, but he is sticking in behind and reserving his battery potentially. But Falcon Warrior now is closing up at just over 1 second behind. And Hazer not gaining too much now on Falcon Warrior. He is sticking around a 5/10 of a second mark behind. The Falcon Warrior will get DRS relatively soon from the rear of Doug, unless Hazer goes for a move now. I don't think he is going to go for it, so therefore Falcon Warrior is the one that they are hoping can push them towards that top 6 group. There are big gaps though, Verstappen to Link and Link's piece down to Merc. And that gap, well, between them all, what, 6.5 seconds? Yeah, quite a big gap between that top 3. And obviously, it's more than 10 seconds to Mr. Poem at the moment, so a big gap between the top 4, but then the gaps behind are much closer. P4 Mr. Poem down to P11 Prezi Prez. Relatively close, only a couple of drivers, Folcor and it was DD Friend, who are out of DRS range at the minute. As you can see, Glue is getting imperiously close towards the rear of Mr. Poem. Still unable to find his way through though. And Hazer also trying to follow suit, but has been challenged well by Folklore Warrior, who is putting Hazer to the limit. And Limit Hazer cannot make the move on that Ferrari and staying in P8. But here comes a chance. The chance that Glue may need in this race. He has a look down the inside, but he has to drop in behind. That was getting close. Glue, that was the biggest chance that he's had so far to take Mr. Poem. And that means he is very close here. He will be incredibly close, exiting out of turn 5. Oh, but he's potentially into the wall. Big error from Glue. Massive, massive mistake. And he was down to P11, potentially lower, because here comes Bloomer and through goes Devsey, and down to P13. Prezi Prez now takes advantage and makes a move on DD Friend, and Prezi Prez is up into 9th place. Big error though, and now it is Doug on the rear of Mr. Poem. Wow, who saw that coming from Glue? I mean, he was catching Mr. Poem. He clearly just put on the throttle a bit too much, and that applied the result. And that applied a result of a mistake and a spin for the Aston Martin, and down to P13 he goes. Verstappen is still dominating this field here. 5.5 seconds clear ahead of the AlphaTauri of Lynx Peace, who is also 2.5 seconds ahead of Merckx. So that top three pulling the strings here. But the battles is going on behind. Mr. Poem P4, Doug P5, Volkor P6, and Hazer is right there with them in P7. And now he is starting to get a bit close towards Volkor Warrior as well. So you look for potential overtake if turn 1. Highly doubt it, although you do get DRS. But the best form of overtake seems to be either into turn 7, potentially turn 14, and turn 16 as well. But Hazer certainly looking for a different line from the Ferrari here. Let's see what he can do. Definitely trying to apply that pressure to get Volkor out of DRS range, don't forget. But unfortunately for Hazer, Volkor does get that DRS here. So on the run down as well, and up ahead Doug is almost side by side. He is side by side with Mr. Poem. Poem leaving him space. Doug does have to drop in behind eventually, however. Oh, and Hazer goes a little bit wide there, almost running into the rear of Volkor Warrior, but stays ahead. That did give Brewdog a temporary opportunity, but not able to take it, sadly for him. And the racing will resume. Volkor Warrior is a second behind now. I'm not sure the strategy is right though from the likes of Poem and Doug. Did he really want to open up the gap to Volkor to mean he doesn't get DRS? Was that a smart strategy? And Hazer may feel like he could definitely take Volkor, providing Volkor does not get DRS here. That must be what Hazer is hoping for. Hazer does not want Volkor to get DRS to be able to make a move. But here, looking at this, Brewdog is getting close towards Hazer as well. Definitely a challenge here. Prez now caught up at 0.6 of a second behind. The Mercedes duo are on the rear of Hazer, who is on the rear of Volkor. Volkor Warrior certainly not on the rear of the two ahead. And here comes Doug. And Doug round the outside. Poem holding the inside line. Through into turns 1 and 2. Side by side racing between Doug and Mr. Poem. And who stays clear? Poem stays clear. And he will be ahead, but they are still battling hard. They are all going to join in now. The Ferrari of Volkor Warrior closes up. Doug will get DRS on the run down into turn 7. Will he have a chance to overtake? But here comes Volkor Warrior looking for a move round the outside. Nobody going for the overtake just yet though. But there you go, the racing was happening there through turns 1 and 2 between Doug and Mr. Poem. And Mr. Poem stays ahead and stays in 4th place. Doug certainly wanting to make that move on the AlphaTauri. It's interesting that the race pace of the AlphaTauri does not seem particularly strong here. Hazer does seem good. Again, he's on soft tyres, but Mr. Poem does seem to be struggling anyway in the AlphaTauri. Lynx Peace does not seem to be struggling though. He seems to have pretty decent pace, in all fairness. Verstappen leading the race is still dominating, of course, more than 6 seconds ahead. As you can see, Hazer closing and closing that gap towards Volkor, still unable to make the move here at Singapore. But it is a 6-way DRS train. Didi Frendo may just make it a 7-way DRS train, particularly if the battles continue to occur. Here we go with Mr. Poem and Doug again. Doug, oh, a little bit of a slip player from Doug. Either trying to bridge the slipstream from Volkor or a genuine mistake. I think it was more likely the latter from Doug, but he stays in there with Mr. Poem. And they are still going at it further behind Hazer, trying to close in on Volkor Warrior, but the likelihood is that he will just have to settle in behind unless he gets a greater exit or uses that battery. Does he do either? It does not look like it. Brewdog though was closing the gap on the straight here for the Mercedes, but he will stay in P8. So still no changes here in this effective battle now for P4. And therefore they'll all have to stick in this. So, oh, this Merck has been disconnected. I will try and send him the invitation. I don't know if it's worth waiting for that though. But with him being disconnected, I will send him one first, but I think he'll likely need a second one. Hopefully he can let me know on the stream if he does need a second invitation. But I have sent him an invitation anyways. Hopefully he doesn't drop too much towards particularly Mr. Poem and lowers behind. Oh, there you go, he is now, I guess, rejoined, so he hasn't lost too much, thankfully. Obviously it's still time. Still no safety cars though. No form of safety car at all, which Russell Bolt is definitely waiting on. Russell Bolt would love a safety car at any point, and ooh, into the pits goes Hazer. No, I thought he was. It's actually going to be WBA Brewdog getting rid of his mediums. Only lasting 11 laps for WBA Brewdog. What tyre does he go for here? So into the pit, and he will opt for the hard compound tyre. I'm pretty certain he's not going to try and go to the end here, but he has done the undercut on all of those drivers in that DRS chain. Does it cause any of them to think I have to follow and I have to pit as well, or do they play the longer game here? It's all about that, but Brewdog has pitted and is on the hard compound or tyre, and he is in clear air as well, so he's likely going to be the quickest of those on track. Maybe except for Verstappen, maybe Lynx as well, but he will be amongst the quickest drivers, no doubt, at this moment in time. As you can see, there's still no moves being made. Hazer right in the middle of this battle. Poem, Doug, Folkor, Hazer, Prezi and Didi Friend. Brewdog was involved in that as well. Might have a gap to the leader to see if Brewdog does close in. So we got Mr. Poem 19.7, Brewdog 48.2. Those are the gaps you need to look out for. So Poem's gap is going up, but Brewdog's gap is also going up. Not too surprising, really. But this 6-way battle, which would be a 7-way battle if these guys do think to pit, and into the pits goes Hazer. So Hazer obviously feeling happy that Brewdog has pitted and thinking, I need to do the same thing. Does he go mediums or does he go hards? Or does he even think about another set of softs? I think that's unlikely. It's got to be mediums or hards here for Hazer. Brewdog is on the hard tyres. And whether or not Brewdog takes Hazer in the pit, we shall see. But it is a set of the hard tyres for Hazer. And he is now coming out, and let's see where WBA Brewdog comes out in comparison to him. And also, Doug has made a move on Poem. I have to go to this, because round the outside goes Doug, and up into 4th place. Hazer, meanwhile, is battling and squabbling hard here. They are side by side. Out of the pits goes Hazer, but he's dropped him behind Brewdog. Will he try and overtake him, however? Out of turn 5, the race has started to heat up in this little midfield battle with a 4th place. But Hazer now has DRS, but he's not close enough to Brewdog, or is he? No, he's not. Brewdog has pulled out a bit of a gap, and Brewdog has successfully completed the undercut. Obviously, Brewdog did use mediums, Hazer did use softs, but Brewdog, the undercut has worked for him. He's ahead of Hazer. Issue is, I think these two drivers now, if any of those in that group ahead pit, I think they'll come out behind Brewdog and Hazer, surely. Surely those two are going quicker than all of these guys. But Doug now leading the field may be a positive thing. If Poem can keep up with the McLaren, then certainly it'll play into these guys' hands. But do any of them pit? It does not seem likely. Yep, none of them have gone into the pit, so we'll see what happens again. Even those further behind, Bloomer, Glue and Devsey all stay out as well. Are they thinking about a one-stop? Certainly a two-stop strategy is on for Brewdog and Hazer. Still watch that gap between them, because Brewdog won't want Hazer to put away. Hazer may want to make a move on Brewdog and lead that field. Or, well, lead that two-way battle effectively. It's turn 1, still a close gap here as Mr. Poem now goes past and beyond Doug, but Doug gets the better exit and on the outside line, but Poem does hold on to the position here. Doug has to settle in behind. Hazer is right there. I'm just going to go in this battle because out of turn 5 now, and Hazer will dart past Brewdog, so up at 12th place goes Hazer. And he is now leading this two-way battle. Don't forget, they want a two-stop strategy here for Hazer and Brewdog. Two stops providing there's no safety car, of course. Safety car would likely kill their races right now, I've got to say, because they would most likely lose all that time to all of those drivers ahead, including the likes of Bloomer, Glue and Devsey. Glue has started to catch back into there as well. Got late Bloomer ahead, don't forget. He made a mistake after a strong start earlier on when he was attacking Mr. Poem for position. Lost out though through a slip, and then Glue dropped right down to the back. Only Rusted Bolt and potentially Bloomer were ahead of him at the time. Oh, and into the pits goes Prezi Press. This will be intriguing. Where would he be compared to Hazer and Brewdog? He might be quite far back, you know. So he is going for another set of medium tyres, or a second set of mediums for Prezi Press. It could be a medium hard run for him. And now both Hazer and Brewdog are coming round out of turn 19 and they go into turn 1. They are well clear of Prezi Press. And Prezi Press out of the pits. He has a big gap to close in. Must be about 3 seconds, surely. Yeah, or just under 4 seconds now. Hazer and Brewdog have on Prezi Press. So he's on fresher tyres, he's on mediums as well. But this is going to play into his hands here. Mr. Poem ahead of Doug. And Bloomer is still there ahead of Glue as well. So still several battles here, but the gaps are opening up now. Mr. Poem and Doug with DD Friend a second behind. And all yellow flags for Core Warrior. May have wing damage, potentially for Core Warrior, but he has made a mistake into turn 13. And he was there with Poem and Doug, but down to P10 now behind Sergeant Devsey. A big mistake for him. And he surely has some wing damage. He may need to pit for repairs here. And it must be a 2-stop strategy for him as well, if he does need to pit for repairs as well. Sadly for him, he will definitely come out behind Prezi Prez as well, so not really ideal for his race. And there you go, he does go into the pits then. So Hazer has started to bridge a bit of a gap, but 7 tenths, but he is opening up towards WBA Brewdog now. And there's about a second between them, so Brewdog may not get DRS here out of turns 18 and 19, which puts the Mercedes position under question, as Core Warrior is onto the set of hard tyres, but again he did have to likely change his wings, so not great for the Ferrari here. That's Doug closing in. DD Friend still there as well in the Red Bull, doing well to keep pace with Mr. Poem and Doug. And Glue also not yet making a move on late Bloomer. Can the Aston Martin get through and try to catch up to Poem, Doug and DD Friend up ahead? As Core Warrior comes out almost 12 seconds behind Prezi Prez. Wow, that mistake has cost him, and cost him severely. So Core Warrior a long way back from those who he was battling with, as Doug now makes the move on Mr. Poem. And here comes DD Friend to try and target an opportunity. He does take Doug. Has he just got the one place side by side with Doug? Very close between them, but DD Friend has made the move. And DD Friend takes Doug and is up to 5th place now. The Red Bull and closing in on Mr. Poem. I wonder again if these are on one stops. Links pieces into the pit. He's kind of in a race of his own at the moment. Doesn't need to worry about Verstappen. His main contender really is Merck. Sorry, it depends now. Does Merck go for a one stop? Because these guys all get past Link's piece. Link's piece may be on a 2-stop. He's gone for another set of mediums as well. So he won't be held up by Hazer, for instance. Hazer is certainly going to stay behind Link's piece, but Link's piece could be held up by the likes of Poem, DD Friend and Glue. And certainly if Glue, Doug, and certainly if Glue catches up, maybe Devsey as well, then Link's piece will have a challenge to get through on 5 drivers. But the more they stay out, the more a one-stop strategy looks likely for Poem, DD Friend, Doug, Glue and Devsey. But are they all on a one-stop, or are they potentially thinking a 2-stop? At the moment, you've got to think it's a one-stop, providing they don't pit within the next few laps. Oh! Jeez, Mr. Poem and DD Friend there. DD Friend gets through. That was very scary, I've got to say. Didi Friend has made a move. Wow, I haven't been that scared watching a driver behind since I was behind a Red Bull at Silverstone. But anyways, when the Silverstone, yeah, when they broke a little bit very early. Let's just say that very early. But anyways, Mr. Perlman, very dangerous, I've got to say. I don't know what happened, but anyways, Didi Fred is ahead of him and up into third place now. Are they wanting to maybe use the Red Bull's pace potentially, knowing that the Red Bull is quicker? Well, he definitely looks like it because he stepped on the gas, 8/10 of a second clear now, pushing that throttle all the way. So Didi Friend looking imperiously quick here. But can Poem, Doug and Glue keep up? Glue is caught up meanwhile, so that's something that will be important to note. The gap at the moment, Glue 6/10 of a second, so it's looking good. Link's Piece is also closing in on Sergeant Devsey. This group would be very strong if they were to let Devsey catch up, just to help defend against Link's Piece, really. They're effectively on similar strategies if they're all thinking of one stop and Link is on a two stop, then they are all on similar strategies here. But let's see. I'm not certain if Lynx is on a two stop or well, it's got to be on a two stop. But are these guys all on a one stop? That's the question. Glulo is closing in now on Doug, taking it nice and normal, really, nice and neat into turns 14. And actually, Mr. Perman's got back ahead of Didi Friend. Didi Friend must have made a mistake there. Or did Mr. Perm really want to move? Link's Piece, so does get through on Sergeant Devsey. And he's straight up into 7th place. Don't forget, new tyres here. And into the pits goes Mr. Poem. And also into the pits goes Didi Friend, yes. Link's Piece fastest lap, and he's on the rear of Glue now. 34.788. I think Link's Piece will be happy that Poem, Didi Friend, and Devsey into the pits with Didi Friend. That's not really a particularly wise strategy from him, because he will be held up into the pits somewhat. Link's Piso does make a move on Glue, and the only one thing now, he's just got to take Doug. Wow, the amount he's closing in. He cannot make a move there though. He can make a move here. Oh, a lot of lag there from Link's Piece, but anyways, down the inside he goes and oh, very close. Doesn't leave a lot of space there, Link's. Gotta say, should have left more space, but he does get the move done anyway. A 3-second penalty from Mr. Poem. That's a crucial penalty as well, unfortunately for him. So 3 seconds, and he is ahead of Bloomer and Folklore Warrior, who did pit a few laps ago. Yeah, pivotal that penalty for him, sadly. 14 drivers, all of them still win the race here. As Folklore Warrior takes his teammate Late Bloomer and up into the top 10 now for Folklore. Still drivers ahead are still waiting to pit with Doug and Glue, so they may be overtaken by Folklore Warrior and Late Bloomer potentially, but they are now losing time to Mr. Poem. And into the pits goes Doug. So he did stay and battle with Link's Piece. He did battle with Glue. Oh, he did enjoy that brake marker, did he? Well, the pit limiter, you know, you can't rely on that. You can't check if it's 37 or 50 because Doug has destroyed it. So if you want to know if it's 37 or 50, you'd have to rely on whatever you've got on your screen, because Doug does not want you to have a look at it, that's for sure. Wonder if he'll just get rid of all the brake markers as well. He might as well now. But he is behind both Ferraris now. And look at the gap between himself and Poem. That gap is quite substantial. 1 lap fresher tyres. But he is almost 5 seconds behind. Wow, it's not worked for him, has it? It has not worked for Doug. It has worked for Mr. Poem though. He has opened up a big gap towards his rivals. In fact, there's no battles to really watch at the moment, except maybe Doug and Didi Friend. The gap is about a second. Everybody else has spread out. We're still waiting on the likes of Verstappen, Merck and Glue to pit Verstappen though. That pace is quite incredible for the Williams. 17 seconds to Merck, about 27 or 26 seconds to Link's Peace. I know Link's Peace is closing it, but Verstappen may be on a one stop here. Wow. Very impressive pace. It's like you're watching Max Verstappen. I can promise it's not Max Verstappen, but it might as well be, because this must be how Max Verstappen feels when he's racing over the past few seasons, anyway. But wow, Max Verstappen. You know what? I'll just call him Max Verstappen. I won't call him Verstappen. I'll call him Max Verstappen. Might as well, right? He might as well. The gap he has, it'll just be Max Verstappen, because that is what Max Verstappen does. You know, he has the best car. He's been in the best car for what, 4 years now, since the start of 2021. Been in the best car since then, and there you go. Been enjoying winning races, that's for sure. Then again, has he been enjoying it? Has he really? He's had no competition really. Sergio Perez hasn't exactly been a competitive teammate now, has he? It's Hazer taking the place of Glue, and Doug also taking Late Bloomer further behind and up into 10th place, but has Full Core Warrior up ahead. We might go actually to Doug and Full Core Warrior, because I do think Doug will be closing that gap as well. And into the pits then goes the race leader, Max Verstappen, not in the normal Red Bull car, which just seemed very weird, doesn't it? He should be now, shouldn't he? Might as well. Actually, no, if he was in the Red Bull, oh my god, I think he would lap everybody. But it was into the pits, and fresh medium tyres are on, so got to be a two-stop lane for Verstappen. You can't do a one-stop strategy, it's got to be a two-stopper. It's very interesting, that one, because you see the gap to Merck is about 7 seconds. It's obviously going to be closing in very, very quickly, but if Merck goes to hard tyres and tries to go to the end, it'll be interesting, you know. Link's Peace is ahead of Verstappen. 2 seconds, but Verstappen has got to pit again, and Link's has as well, surely. Could Merck try a one-stop and try and win this? It will be tricky. It will be a massive challenge for him. I've got to say, Glue's strategy may not be working though, because his one-stop strategy, well, Prez is massively gaining on him. About a second now, Prez has actually gone within 1 second, and Doug is about a second behind Volker Warrior. So the gaps are beginning to close in a little bit now, with Glue versus Prezi and Volker versus Doug. And has Prez got the position here? He's going to push hard on Glue. He's going to overtake Glue, going round the outside. In fact, they are side by side. Couldn't get much closer. I do believe there must have been some contact there into turn 14. Prez, however, has got himself through. There's quite a lot of lag occurring, it seems, but Prez is up there now. Into the pits goes Merck. Is he going to go hard? Oh, he's gone for another set of medium tyres then for Merck. It's an interesting one. Doesn't fancy the one stop. He's going to go for a two stop. It's second set of medium tyres for Merck then. He's got Mr. Poem there as well in P8. So where's the battles at right now? Well, it's looking like this one. Actually, move away because I see Verstappen and Links, and Verstappen did actually get ahead. So 5 laps fresher tyres, and now is ahead of Link's Peace. Can Links try and keep up with him with that DRS? Well, sadly, DRS at Singapore is not it's not massively crucial, as Link's Peace is sliding around, but he has lost DRS now. So in trying to push hard, he doesn't want to make a big mistake though. There's no point risking a second place finish and making a massive mistake. So Link's Peace probably should settle for second place at the moment, I've got to say. Especially when the gap between himself and Merck is substantial. There's no point pushing it too hard, is there really? Let's go back towards Doug. He needs to get a move here on Falco Warrior, or that gap between himself and Mr. Poem will continue to grow. Verstappen fast up at 33.437. Doug still not making an overtake here. He's got to go for it. He's got to go for the overtake, surely. Can Falco Warrior keep him back again? It looks like he will. It's turn 16, so Doug, whatever he's doing, it's not working for him. And into the pits goes Glue, getting rid of his mediums. He might be on a one stop. If he goes for a set of hards, I'm sure he'll be trying to go to the end. But he's not. He's on to mediums again, so they're all seemingly on two-stop strategies here. Doug again had a look on Falco Warrior, not taking the place and staying in P9, but he is going to push on here though. The best opportunity Doug has had will be out of turn 5 and leading into turn 6 and into turn 7. Will he go for the overtake? Not really, no. 4-lap pressure ties on mediums versus hards, and still not in a position to take the place of the Ferrari. Falco stays ahead of Doug, and that extra few tenths of a second per lap advantage from Falco Warrior is certainly working for him at the minute, because Doug cannot get past him. Definitely impacting Doug's race long term, because his gap to Mr. Poem is now about 6.5 seconds. As Merck has taken Brewdog. Pretty sure Brewdog was nowhere near. Brewdog has actually dropped down behind Mr. Poem as well. Is that potential wing damage, or is he not wanting to keep them behind? Either way, Brewdog is down in 7th place now behind Merck and Mr. Poem. Is he just wanting to have a race on his own effectively and not compromise those behind? Or is he going to go to pits for repairs? Well, no, he's not got any wing damage, so interesting there. But Brewdog not trying to keep them behind. Oh, Verstappen has been disconnected! How critical will that be? Verstappen is gone! The race could be back on here because Lynx will be catching him. I mean, Verstappen can rejoin of us. I mean, I say of us. He can't rejoin of me personally. I don't think I've got Verstappen. He will have to rejoin on somebody else. But the gap to Lynx Peace is now less than a second. And Lynx Peace, out of absolutely nowhere, could take the lead due to Verstappen's disconnection here. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm not saying that Verstappen's disconnection is an entirely bad thing for the race, because he was absolutely cruising to a win, and now Lynx Peace looks like he's going to take the lead. And you know what, I'm going to go towards it, because he will surely take the lead here. The ghost of Verstappen. Max Verstappen will be overtaken here by Lynx Peace and the AlphaTauri. And through he goes. Verstappen meanwhile gets a bit of compromised, and he is rejoining, so he will get back in his car. Oh no! He's pitting as well! Oh my god, Verstappen's car is pitting him from a 3-lap old medium tyres. What is this? The game is trying to give us a race, ladies and gentlemen. What a game! What a game! Oh, EA, we love you. We love you. Just trying to give us a race. Fair play, EA. He's on medium tyres now. I don't think he'll be happy with that. He's left again. He can't get back in, but he's pitted for first mediums. This is going to be interesting because I would love to genuinely see him get back in and see if he can win. Verstappen should definitely rejoin. I'm sorry. Get back in the lobby and try a win from here. Doug and Falco Warrior are battling. They might be surprised to see Verstappen ahead. I would be too. And again, it's Verstappen who's not really in, is he? Because Doug is going to sail past Falco Warrior. And through goes the McLaren. And there you go. Through up into 8th place he goes. Doug taking Falco. And now he's going to take the ghost of Verstappen. Unless Verstappen does get back in. If he doesn't get back in, he's going to be overtaken by not just 1 but 2. Because Doug is going to push on here to take the place of Verstappen. This is absolutely incredible. There you go. Through goes Doug, and Verstappen loses 1 place to Doug, and he will lose the other place to Falco as well. Falco will still get DRS, fortunately. What on earth? How was Verstappen? Why did the game pit him? Why did it pit him for mediums? Still though, Verstappen should get to get back in. You can still potentially win here. There's plenty of laps to go. Plenty of laps. He's still got the pace. The gap to the leader is 31.7 seconds. He opened up big gaps anyway. And I don't think he has... Does he have to pit again? If he doesn't have to pit again... Oh, he probably does. Unless he tries to take those mediums to the end. I don't really understand the game's strategy, I've got to say, given that he was on fresh tyres. Speaking of which, DD Friend is into the pits. 7 laps on mediums. He must have wing damage. Still waiting on Full Core Warrior to get through on Verstappen. I mean, that's taken a long time, given that it's a ghost. He will now get through, though. Will he? He will get through, right? Yeah, there you go. So, Volker Warrior now up into 8th place, but we're going to go back towards DD Friend. Has he actually been in his pit box yet? Yes, he has. So, he's on fresh hards, but he only lasted 7 laps on mediums. Bit of a surprise there, I've got to say. So, no real battles are occurring at the moment. Verstappen still not in the race. And this right now gives Link's Peace a 10-second lead. It does open up a battle for the win, but I think Verstappen should just come back in. I'm hoping that he does, because I would genuinely love to see if he can still win from here. It would keep it competitive. Come on, Verstappen, get back in. I would be so intrigued if he can compete. And he's back! He's back! Oh, yes. Okay, this is going to be interesting now. Alright, we'll wait for him to get back in his car. He will then try and take Volcore Warrior. He's got 10 lap fresher medium tyres, don't forget. Game don't pit him again. Thankfully it hasn't done. Oh, that was a bit scary, wasn't it? And let's see, we'll wait for the flash on the screen, because that normally is when it indicates that a driver is back in their car. It does normally say that they have to wait a bit of time to get back in, but hopefully, very, very soon, waiting for that flash to say that he is back. Obviously we'll see it, because no other battles are happening right now except really, actually. I lied, he is back in! He's in the car, and Verstappen is going to go again. He can close the gap to Volcore Warrior now. Glue is here on Sergeant Devsey, so it wouldn't surprise me if Glue can get through. He's going to go down the inside, or round the outside, so to say. Round turn number 7, and Glue is up into P11, but we're going to watch Verstappen here. Max Verstappen is going to be on the rear of Volcore Warrior. And if you thought this race was getting a bit dull, well, it's going to heat up now, because Verstappen is back and he will want revenge on the disconnection, effectively. Not revenge of the Sith, don't worry too much on that one. But he's closing in on Volcore Warrior. Will he go straight for the move here on the Ferrari? He's really close. I mean, look at the extra traction that he has. He's now going to go round the outside on Volcore Warrior. He's going to go for the overtake on Volcore Warrior, and through he goes. Volcore Warrior not able to do anything about it, because Verstappen is up into 8th place. Sailing past the Ferrari and into the wall. Oh, don't tell me he's got any damage there. He's still trying to press on here. But Verstappen is up into 8th place. 2.5 seconds to Doug. I still think he needs to pit, though. I still believe he still has to pit for softs or hards. I get the impression it will be softs later in the race. No, he started on hards, didn't he? Oh, he started on hards. He doesn't have to pit again. Verstappen can go to the end. He started on hard tyres. I just remembered. He's on hard, medium, medium. And he's still got fresh enough medium if he wants to go to that tyre, because they're only 3 laps old. Doug, meanwhile, getting past Brewdog and up into 6th place, but he knows he will have Verstappen coming at him. Purple sector 1 for the Williams, and he is absolutely flying. Can he get through on WBA Brewdog? That is the question. How quickly can he get past him as well? Again, he has looked absolutely rampant here. Brewdog trying to slide his way through, but Verstappen with the extra traction and with the slipstream, and he has the advantage and gets through and up into 7th place. Next up will be Doug. But Verstappen is a man on a mission here to come home with a win. Half the race remaining. We are 31 laps down, and what a race we have in store. Without a safety car, this could be quite a race, quite an ending. And Verstappen, don't rule him out of a potential win. He is right there with Doug now. And he's actually going to get through on Doug. Oh, he's making maybe contact, in fact. Verstappen's pace is quite incredible, I've got to say. And there you go, he gets through on Doug, and up into 6th place goes Verstappen. Very soon, Lynx, Hazer and Prezi will see Verstappen on their 5-driver list. But Merck and Mr. Poem are the ones who now have to endure that. Verstappen in 6th place, and he is flying. Not literally. So he will now try and close that gap towards Mr. Poem. He's on 7-lap fresher tyres. He can still go to the end. He can go for a set of soft tyres if he so wishes to later on. What is the gap now between himself and the leaders? 29.8 seconds between himself and Lynx Peace, with 9-lap fresher tyres here. Let's keep that gap on because we want to see that drop. I mean, I'm not saying I want him to win. I'm not saying I don't know who I want to win. I don't really have a favourite to win because anyone really can win. But I want a battle at the end, and this is what it looks like it's coming down to. Verstappen is certainly closing that gap. But when his tyres go off, that's when Lynx, Hazer, Prezi, Merck and Mr. Poem in particular need to push on. Oh, speaking of which, Prez has dropped behind Merck. So Merck on 8-lap fresher tyres on the mediums is now through on Prez, and another fast lap from Verstappen, 33.412. And that Williams is pressing on here. So you've got Lynx Peace, who is in sector 2, and at turn 9, whereas Verstappen is now heading into turn 5. So about 4 turns between them, but obviously as the lap goes on, it will either increase or decrease depending on where they are on the circuit. As Merck now receives a 3-second time penalty. So the Haas, who is now turning into turn 10 at the Singapore Sling, that's a pivotal penalty for him. And there you go, Verstappen still closing the gap down at 26 seconds. Certainly lagging though, I've got to say. But 26 seconds to Lynx Peace in the lead. And Glue taking late bloomer and up into the top 10 for the Aston Martin. Different strategies at play are certainly working for those who are aiming to do a successful undercut. Or, well, certainly the overcut does seem to be working as well, in all fairness. I think Doug earlier in the race being stuck behind a Ferrari or Falco Warrior did not help his race. But he's got some steady pace now. But sadly, he's not competitive with that top 6. Tier 1s plus Prez, in all fairness. Prez has done very well to still be in this race, competing with Tier 1 drivers. Falco Warrior is ahead of Brewdog. Brewdog into the pits, get rid of his hard. May go for a fresh set of mediums to the end here, potentially. Let's see what tyre he does opt for. As long as it's not another set. Oh, he's gone for softs. Now, I don't believe those softs will take you 30 laps, but Brewdog is on a fresh set of soft tyres. Fresh softs, WBA Brewdog. Okay, interesting, cool. Let's see if that works out for him. Meanwhile, Merck is certainly catching Hazer, and speaking of which, Verstappen, here he comes on Mr. Poem. Just holding behind on the Alpha Tower. He's certainly lagging, I've got to say. Connection is a major struggle for the Williams. And into the Singapore. The hairpin, sorry, not the Singapore Sling. That was a few corners ago, but down at the hairpin and beyond. Mr. Palm is keeping a gap to Verstappen here. Verstappen's car still. Oh, he goes deep. He goes very deep there. Verstappen almost runs into Mr. Poem, in fact. But thankfully not. And he stays in P6. Yellow flags for late bloomer. And Late Bloomer doesn't seem to have clear damage. Hazer, though, into the pits now. And he must be going mediums to the end here. He's on 20 laps on his hards. But here comes Verstappen, making a move on Mr. Poem. And down the inside and up to 4th place. Hazer is going to be on the fresh medium tyres. 7 laps fresher than Verstappen's. Can he bridge a 7-lap fresher tyre gap to Verstappen? It's going to be very, very challenging. But it's about whether or not Verstappen has to pit later on. He can go to the end, I think. It won't be easy. But he's still massively gaining on all of those ahead. Link's Peace now is well ahead. 14 seconds ahead of Merck. Merck, of course, was closing that gap towards Hazer. Still think that Verstappen may just be the favourite as well. I mean, typically in real life, Max Verstappen is always the favourite, but here this evening, he may still be the favourite to win this race, but it is an interesting one. Hazer now on fresh mediums. You've got Lynx, Merck, Prezi, they're all still surely going to pit. Is Verstappen going to pit again though, or is he going to stay out on those medium tyres? I think I'm going to go... Well, let's see what Hazer can do here, because he's on the rear of Glue. We're going to go back to the interval. And I think Hazer will surely make his move here. Closing in, and he will go down the inside for Hazer on Glue. And Hazer up into 8th position out of turn 14. So Hazer is making moves here. Prezi present in the pits. He will get rid of his aging mediums. 18 laps on those medium tyres. And he will go on to a set of hard tyres until the end. So that'll be, what, 27 laps for Prez on those hard tyres. Interesting though, because a lot of drivers are very much changing between softs, mediums and hards at the moment. Brewdog on softs, Hazer opting for mediums, Prezi opting for the hard tyres. I'm not sure on those hards, but then again, they could be better than the mediums surely come the end of the race. Hazer. Here comes Hazer down the inside. Thought it was going to go for a Volkor. Volkor Warrior goes a little bit deep. Just compromise him slightly. Hazer's still there though, applying the pressure greatly towards Volkor Warrior. And down into turn 9. Volkor still ahead, but Hazer all over him here. We'll look at the outside line, but won't go for it. Down through the Singapore sling here, turns 10. It leads into turns 11 and 12. Hazer still not through into turn 13. They'll go then down at the hairpin. And surely Hazer will get the greater exit. Yellow flags for Late Bloomer again. And Hazer now will have a look down the inside of Volkor Warrior. Side by side they are going. Hazer's just about made a move. Volkor Warrior did have to sort of pull out of it, I've got to say. And that could give Glue the chance he needs around the outside, which effectively is the inside line. I think Volkor just stays ahead. Hazer though, up into the top 6 now on those fresh mediums. More yellow flags, and I think it is for Bloomer again. He's reversed. Oh, be careful of that. You don't want to do what Merck did. He's definitely got some wing damage. It's fair to say that. We clearly saw the debris there. And Doug goes into the pit and is on fresh hards as well. But it looks like Late Bloomer was struggling and has been struggling for quite a bit, I've got to say, in this race. Anyways, Doug on the fresh hard tyres then. I think his challenge will be the Mercedes of Prezi and Brewdog. Brewdog obviously doing a soft tyre run, so he will need to pit again. Prezi has done remarkably well, and it doesn't look like he'll need to pit again, so we'll see what the strategies play like here. But it is looking good. It's looking good at a moment for Prezi, who did get past Sergeant Devsey as well. And into the pits goes Late Bloomer. It wouldn't surprise me if he opts to the tyre. And again, would he try and continue? He has now been lapped by the effective race leader Link's Peace. Verstappen is still your net race leader, providing nobody in that lead group. Well, I don't think he's pitting again, Verstappen, I've got to be honest. And the gap between Verstappen and Hazer stands at about 17 seconds. So with 7 lap pressure tyres, 17 seconds to gain. Unless Verstappen's tyres fall through the roof, Hazer is going to find it a very challenging task to get through on Verstappen here. As Glue here taking a wider line, which makes it very, very challenging for Volkor to defend against the wider line. Out of turn 3 that would have been, but now into turn 5, and out of turn 5 can Glue, and he will sail through with the DRS. No challenge here. Volkor loses out, and Glue is up into 6th position then. So let's see what Glue can do again. Surely get a pit again. Those medium tyres have a lot of work to do, similar to Verstappen as well. So where's the next battle going to happen? Perez will be catching up to Volkor, no doubt about it. He's on the fresher hard tyres as well. Volkor Warrior can still go softs or mediums to the end. So Volkor Warrior will be quicker later on in the race, you do envision. Volkor Warrior may be better off staying out for a few more laps there, because he doesn't want just 2 lap fresher tyres than the likes of Doug and Prezi. The next battle will come from Verstappen. 2 seconds behind Merck now. Now Williams looking very, very good there for Verstappen. Hazer starting to get closer towards Mr. Perm as well, but they are on different strategies. Perm likely needs to pit again. Hazer does not. Again, the question will be, does the likes of Verstappen and Merck, do they both need to pit again? Does none of them need to pit again? I think Merck certainly will look to box. I think he did start on mediums as well, so I think Merck has to pit again. Might be a medium soft run for the Haas. Verstappen did start on hard, so he doesn't need to pit again, but he may opt to. He is still closing the gap to Lynx though. About 12 seconds behind. That's incredible. He was about 30 seconds behind. The gap now is 12 seconds. And that is still closing. Verstappen's pace here, quite formidable, I've got to say. Now, I do expect him to get the move done, but when he gets into turn 1, he's definitely going to pull alongside here. And there you go, Verstappen does get through on Merck into turn 1, but can Merck fight it back out of turn 5? The answer to that seems to be no. Hazer gets through on Perm, but Perm is into the pits. So getting rid of his mediums. Does he go softs? Does he go hards here? He's going to do 23 laps. I think that might be a hard tyre stint then. Yeah, so it's going to go for the hard tyres then for Mr. Poem, and he'll take those to the end of the Grand Prix. Merck at the moment is just sticking to Verstappen about half a second, but for how much longer? You don't imagine it'll be for a particularly long time. I think that Verstappen will pull clear pretty soon, and then we'll try and challenge Link's Peace. Can he win this race, Verstappen, though? From that gap behind, 30 seconds, he had 2 links after he got disconnected from the race. He was leading earlier on, unsurprisingly, by a good margin, but he was never 30 seconds ahead. It was probably, about 10 seconds that he did have on Link's Peace. But wow, since then, in the last 10 laps, Verstappen's pace has been absolutely immense. And now Link's Peace is into the pit, so this does make it interesting. Does Verstappen do a few laps and then box, or does he take those mediums to the end? Because Link's will be quick from now until the very end of this Grand Prix. He does go for the hard tyres then for Link's. So it's hard tyres for Link's Peace. I don't think that those two, Verstappen and Merck, can go to the end then. You might see Merck pit before Verstappen as well. It wouldn't surprise me here. So Link's piece on those hard tyres out in P4. DD Friend receives a 3-second time penalty in P13 as well. Not many penalties going around. And again, Singapore isn't exactly known to bring out penalties. 3 seconds for Merck, Glue, Mr. Poem, Doug and DD Friend. 5 drivers out of 14 have time penalties. 40 laps into this race. And still several drivers need to pit. Verstappen and Merck, I believe, will have to pit. Glue will need to pit. Volkov will need to pit. Sergeant Devsey will need to pit, as will Russell Bolt. DD Friend may still need to pit unless he's going for that one stopper. Let's go towards Poem and Brewdog. And Brewdog is on the soft tyres, but he's up against Mr. Poem, who's pitted only a lap ago. So Mr. Poem's tyres will be beginning to fire up then. And Brewdog's tyres will begin to fall off a little bit. In fact, up ahead is Sergeant Devsey here. So what part does Devsey plays on older hard tyres? He will lose out to Poem and he will also lose out to Brewdog. So Devsey clearly not getting involved in this battle here. Both Mr. Poem and Brewdog will be happy that they don't have to fight with Devsey particularly. But to be fair to Doug, he did do the undercut on Mr. Poem. It hasn't exactly worked too much for him, as Volker Warrior is into the pits. And he will probably go for medium tyres. And there you go, the yellow wall tyres are on. Oh well, they're out, and now they're on. So it will be mediums for Volker Warrior until the end. Brewdog is still closing in here on Mr. Poem. Trying to keep in DRS range, but he will likely need to box again here. Those soft tyres will struggle. Mr. Poem has now got another 3 seconds. 6 seconds in total for Mr. Poem, the first driver to receive more than a 3-second time penalty in this evening's event. So that will be a challenge then for Poem to stay clear of the drivers behind. With and again, the ones he's battling with. Prez doesn't have any penalties for P6 at the moment. Glue needs to pit again. Glue does have 3 seconds. Doug has 3 seconds. And he doesn't need to pit again. So he's not really battling with too many for position, especially with that 6 seconds. Prez is the most likely one. And into the pits goes Verstappen then. Max Verstappen will go. Will it be for soft? Will it be for hards? Will it be for another set of mediums here? He is going to go for the fresh, soft tyres. 20 laps on those softs. Can he do 20 laps on softs? Wow. Very interesting call though from Verstappen. 20 laps is what he's got to complete on those soft tyres if he wants to win. And crucially, he is ahead of Glue, who is on 17 lap old mediums. Nobody has done 20 laps on softs yet this race, so Verstappen, he's got a way to go on those tyres, but he will be incredibly fast for the first few laps at the very least. But knowing what Max Verstappen's pace has been like, I'm sure he'll be quick for most of this. As Sergeant Devsey is lost out to Doug, and Doug up into 9th place, breaking the slipstream and a tow from the Red Bull as well. So Doug in P9, but there you go, Verstappen. He's going to be rapid. He's going to be rapid, but can he win this race? Those soft tyres, is that the right call to go for? Still a lot of gaps here. Brewdog is keeping firm here with Mr. Poem though. On the soft tyres, about half a second or so behind. He's doing well to keep up, but those soft tyres will fall off a cliff. And surely he will need to box for either another set of softs or medium tyres himself. But if he were to box for another set of softs, that would make me interested in the strategy from Verstappen to go for softs. And don't forget, Verstappen would obviously close in on Merck pretty quickly, but how quickly can they close in on Hazer and Link's Peace? Link's Peace's tyres will be better come the end of the race. Will Hazer's tyres be better come the end? Possibly. Probably not, in all honesty. I think Verstappen's tyres may be better than Hazer's at the end, but it will be close between them. But Link's Peace at the end, those hards, surely will be the better tyre to be on. So it makes it an intriguing dynamic here as to what Verstappen can do. Into the pits goes Rusted Bolt, 25 laps on the hard tyres. To be honest, you've not seen many go more than 25 laps on hards, so the fact is that Verstappen's going to go 20 on softs. And again, Rusted Bolt is going to try and do the best part of 19 laps on soft tyres, so interesting call from Rusted Bolt here. Drop down to the battles. Brewdog still keeping up with Mr. Poem, back 8 tenths between them. And DD Friend has Core Warrior up ahead. DD Friend, 13 laps extra on hards versus Volcore's far fresher mediums. And Rusted Bolt still not on a safety car or virtual safety car in this race. And sadly, that double pit stop that he had to make early in the race has really impacted the Alfa Romeo in this Grand Prix. Fastest lap for Verstappen, 31.796. That probably won't be the last time we'll say about a Verstappen fastest lap. Still watching the gaps here. Mr. Pump is beginning to open up a gap to Brewdog. It is about a second, so Brewdog won't get the DRS at the moment. There you go. So they are just heading into turns 1 and 2 and out of turn 3 now. But Hazer is out of turn 9 into turn 10. Will he get through on Merck, or will Merck try and fight it hard here? Very slidey and slippery for Merck. Hazer will go for the wider line. Merck will go very deep. I don't think it'll be a fight at all. Through goes Hazer, and he does inherit the race lead from the Haas. And now what happens with Verstappen on fresher tyres, on the soft as well? He will be closing in easily, but how long will he go on those soft tyres? Can he go to the end, and how well will they be at the end of the race? One thing I do know, Verstappen has been absolutely impeccable when it comes to race pace here in the Williams. His qualifying pace was no joke. Absolutely no joke at all. He has dominated this race, being by far the quickest driver, and he would be worthy of winning for sure. But on those softs, can he win? That has to be the question to ask. And Brewdog, meanwhile, on 11 lap old softs, is still keeping up with Mr. Poem, and Poem maybe going a little bit wide as well on the exit of turn 19, which leads into turn 1. Brewdog is still fighting hard just to stick with Poem, and in fact he still is sticking with the AlphaTauri. And Prez is right there with Glue as well, what, 7 tenths of a second. He has DRS to boot, so he'll be hoping to get a move into the top 5. Been a great race this from Prez, I've got to say. It'll be one of my Driver of the Day candidates based on this performance. Let's check in with Link's Peace, because Merck has got him behind him. And Link's Peace will get the better exit out of turn 14, which leads into turn 15 and then into turn 16, and there you go, through he goes. And Link's Peace up into second position then. Merck is going to pit soon. Will he pit this lap? No, he stays out for another lap. He's going to go for softs for sure, but what lap does he go for softs? Does he hope for a safety car? There's not been one yet this race. Prez does make a move on Glue then. Prez up into the top 5. What a race it's been from Prez. And he will take those hards to the end. Mr. Poem though is catching them about 4 seconds behind, so watch out for the AlphaTauri, who could potentially steal a top 5 away from Prez here this evening's race. we'll go back. I think there's not much to watch at the moment because Prezi obviously made a move on Glue. Hazer made a move on Merc. Lynx made a move on Merc. Verstappen is the one who looks like he's closing up low. He definitely is closing the gap again. Will those softs last him the entire race now? He's got to go 20 laps on soft tyres in total. Merc clearly not wanting to go 20 laps on softs. A lot of them have struggled to go 20 laps on mediums, to be fair. Some of them pitted incredibly early from mediums, so you know, can he break it up into 3 parts this race where 2 stops seem to be the way to go? Probably yes. Unless you're Russ Bolt, of course, who sadly had to make 2 early pit stops, but he is now on the rear of Sergeant Defsey. Or getting close to the rear anyway. But he's on 1 lap older tyres here, Russ Bolt. So we'll have a direct onboard view with Verstappen here. It turns 1, 2 and 3, and look at how much he closes in on Merc. I mean, Merc is on 18 lap older tyres, but wow. Verstappen. He looks like the real life Max Verstappen with this pace. And now gaining and gaining and gaining, and he is going for the overtake here. Will be a tricky one. Will it be the space as Merc actually drops him behind? And Verstappen is through and up into 3rd place. Blue also into the pits. And he's gone on to a set of softs, unsurprisingly. I think Verstappen now surely is going to be the one to win. Unless the softs struggle at the end, which they may still do. But he is closing the gap to Lynx and closing the gap towards Hazer. The gap between them now stands at about 6 seconds between the top 3. And still waiting on if Merc pits again for soft tyres, or does he stay out on his current aging mediums. Got to do another 15 laps on him. That will be 38 laps in total on mediums. I can't see him doing that. I think he has to pit anyway because he did start on mediums. So medium to medium for Merc. He will need to go softs. Maybe this lap. And there you go. In he goes then. And there will be soft tyres on for Merc. He would definitely get those softs to the end quite comfortably. So will Glue, as will Defsey. I think Russ Bolt will as well. Just about. I think Verstappen can get them to the end, but they will struggle. They will struggle later on. There you go. Fresh softs then are on for Merc. And he will come out behind the AlphaTauri, potentially behind the Mercedes, but the Mercedes is in as well. That is Brewdog. So Merc is out in P6 behind Mr. Poem. But he's on fresh soft, so he's going to be really no comparison between Merc, Poem and Prezi, it seems. Prez is holding his own though, doing very well in that Mercedes and set for a top 5 finish potentially. But the man to watch has to be Verstappen here. Still think Lynx Pieces tyres will be better at the end, which is why Verstappen has to push hard. A lot of fresh soft tyres are going on though. Verstappen, Merc, Glue, Brewdog, Defsey and Russ Bolt are all on soft tyres, which can all go to the end. Others are on mediums in the form of Hazer and Volcor. Hards for Lynx, Prezi, Poem, Doug, DD Friend and Bloomer. Only DD Friend really has to pit again. 20 laps on his hards. If he doesn't pit, he'll be doing 33 laps on hards altogether. He's up against fresh soft tyre runners, don't forget. So surely DD Friend will be thinking about a soft tyre strategy here at the end of this race. Top 3 are still closing in on each other. Hazer from Lynx, from Verstappen. I don't think Merc is in the battle for the win because he's just too far behind, although he is on the fresh softs. It's got to be down to these 3 drivers here. Very, very glitchy though, Verstappen, I think. And again, Max Verstappen probably glitches for the other drivers in real life. That's if they ever see Max Verstappen. They probably won't see Max Verstappen beyond turn 1 tomorrow evening anyway, so may not matter too much in that respect. Verstappen is certainly gaining time. Into the pits does go DD Friend, and it will be a set of fresh soft tyres for him. So, where is he standing at the moment? So he's down in P13, and obviously with Late Bloomer so far behind, he will stay in P13 as well. He has not been lapped by Hazer, and it doesn't look like he will get lapped because he's on the fresh softs now. Or will he? Might get lapped actually here because Hazer is leading into turn 1, but thankfully Diddy Friend has got his car back, so I think Diddy Friend will stay ahead of him. Obviously, to stay lapped or unlapped, but it should be okay, it seems like. Let's go back towards Verstappen. Or do we go to Glue because he is closing in? Let's have a look with Glue and Falcor Warrior here. Not really been many accidents either in this race. No incidents really, maybe apart from possibly the 2 Williams at the start. With Hazer and Verstappen, did Verstappen catch Hazer, which led to Hazer to go off track. Besides from that, there's not been a lot to report on. Verstappen still closing in on Link's piece, but Link's keeping the Williams out of DRS range for now. So no DRS for the Williams, or will there be? Into the pits does go Doug. He's on fresh softs as Glue still trying to apply the pressure here on Falcor Warrior. Almost side by side heading into turn 5. Oh, go deep. Oh, I don't know what he did. I don't know what happened there, but they are squabbling here quite hard. Very, very laggy. Glue does overtake Falcor Warrior. And up into 7th place for the Aston Martin then. Let's go back up to the front of the field then. Or do we go towards Merck because he's also closing in here on Mr. Poem. Surprised if Poem fought this hard, of course. I don't think he will. Merck can still take both of these drivers here. If you can get Poem and then get Prezi Prez, get 4th place out of this for sure. Go through he goes, and Verstappen gets a 3-second penalty in P3, the first penalty for Verstappen in this race, and that's going to be critical for Max Verstappen. He typically gets penalties for causing incidents, but only tonight he's getting a penalty for corner cutting. Not really what Max Verstappen normally gets, but there you go. Oh, and off goes Merck. Doesn't exactly need to give the place back. It's, you know, he doesn't need to, let's be honest, but he does go off track. Be interesting there because he's obviously on 3-lap-old soft tyres. Not sure why you went off track entirely, but there you go. Verstappen, though. I don't know what's happened to Verstappen, but he is losing pace. Link's pace is finding pace here up against Hazer. Now, after all the complaints about people being in a Williams, we may not even get a Williams on the front, on the top of the podium here, because here comes Link's pace, trying to make a move into turn 16. Side by side they go. Off goes Hazer, and through goes Link's pace. He's got it. It's P1. We've got 10 laps or 11 laps to go. Link's leads on lap 52 now. What a big move that is. Link's piece on the hard tyres. Into the pits goes Verstappen. He is DNF'd. Did he have wing damage potentially? I think he may have had wing damage there, Verstappen. He has DNF, meaning a battle for the podium is on for the likes of Prezi, Merck and Mr. Poem. But it could be an AlphaTauri on the top step of the podium after all. But it's not typically the AlphaTauri of Hazer. It will be the AlphaTauri of Link's piece. At the moment, does Hazer box for a fresh set of softs to try and take the challenge to Link's piece though? 10 laps to do it. You know what? It could be worth Hazer boxing here. If his mediums are done, he could get a fastest lap out of it as well. What's the fastest lap right now? The fastest lap is a 1:31.7. I've got to be honest, that lap is a lot quicker than everybody else. But Hazer could try and push on for something here. I mean, He's been overtaken by Lynx. He's on 6-lap older tyres, so mediums versus hards. I think Hazer could box for fresh softs here and try and get himself to the end on those fresh softs. And at the end of the day, it would then mean Lynx can't box for softs. I think it would be the better call to make here. Soft tyres. And at the end of the day, he's not going to be caught by those behind him. Could get a fast lap out of it. Okay, maybe unlikely. But he could certainly do something here. Because he's... At this pace, he's not going to get much out of it. But if he were to box for first softs, then he could gain a lot of time here on Lynx, I've got to say. And Sergeant Deathsy receives a 5-second penalty for crossing the white line on the pit exit. So he's P12 at the moment. I think Hazer should have boxed that lap after being overtaken by Lynx, personally, anyway. At the end of the day, he's got a big gap to Prezi, who is trying to keep Merck behind him. Merck, don't forget, has a penalty of, I believe, 3 seconds, and there you go. Merck here going for the up and under, but still not able to quite go for it. But I think he will get the better exit out of turn 5, which will be crucial here for the Haas. Battle for the podium between Merck and Prezi. And here comes Merck trying to make the move. Will he go in or out? He will go down the inside. Crucial move into turn 7. Down through the memorial corner. And Merck is onto the podium. But he still has 3 seconds of penalties. Prezi Perez will try his best to keep up. But he's on 13 laps. Older tyres here. I don't think Prezi is going to be in a position to fight this one. Mr. Perm, though, will get DRS potentially from Prezi. He has 4 laps fresher tyres, but he's on 6 seconds worth of penalties here. Hazer, surely he's got to think about boxing for fresh softs. Why is he... I mean, he might try and go for it on the last lap, maybe. But at the moment, I think he could have caught up to Lynx, you know. If he boxed for softs with 11 or 10 laps to go, he would have been so much faster than Lynx. So much faster. Don't know, I think he's... I'm not saying he's bottled it, by the way. I just think that he's... Yeah, well. I think it's the wrong strategy to stay out on those mediums, personally. I think softs would have been the better way to go. At least in my opinion, anyway. Percy Pesno is keeping up at the moment with Merck, still only 7 tenths behind, because some good points coming in really for Prezi. For me, definitely amongst the driver of the day candidates, it's been told also Verstappen was running out of fuel, which is why I believe he did retire. Still no pit stop for soft tyres though for Hazer here. I can't believe he's not pitted for softs yet. I know he may do it in 5 laps time, for instance, to go for the fastest lap, but he could have had a genuine chance of a win here. I think he would have. He would have had a good chance of a win, I think, if he had gone for the softs. He's obviously not gone for it. We've only had 1 DNF from 14 drivers, 0 safety cars, 0 virtual safety cars at a track like Singapore. Well, very well done in realistic cars as well, might I add. There's been several battles on track. It's done very well. Oh, then again, what's happened here? It's not Late Bloomer this time, it's actually Folklore Warrior, who has lost the place to Brewdog as a result. They did have a slip. It seems to be out of turn 16 and 17. So Folklore Warrior is back up and running. So still no safety car. Prezi Prez here. Still there with Merck. I mean, what a job he has done. I mean, that gap does start to increase, but he's sticking in the DRS of the Haas. And Merc at the moment would lose a podium due to his 3-second penalty. He's got to get a move on at some point here. They are both having similar levels of battery as well for Merc and Prezi. So it's not like Prezi is out of battery. He's still got some in reserve here. And, wow, I'm surprised he's been able to keep up with Merc. I've got to say, on his much older tyres, he's done a brilliant job. 6 laps to go in this race. And to note as well, Hayes is still not pitting. I reckon he'll pit lap 60 for soft tyres to go to the end, but if not, then I don't really understand why he wouldn't. He's got to go for a fast lap, but for me he could have pushed on for a win if he had boxed with about 11 or 12 laps to go. But there you go, he didn't do that. Imagine if he boxed with like 12 laps to go. He'll be... I reckon right now if he had boxed with 12 laps to go, he'd probably be about 10 seconds behind Lynx right now. And if that was the case, then obviously he would still be gaining a lot of time. He could have caught Lynx by the end, potentially. And even if he didn't, he could have got a fast lap. You know, at the end of the day, he would have been in the position where he could have fought for a win. It doesn't look likely that he's in a position to catch him. And he's out of battery as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the strategy call from Hayes is to not go for softs. I don't think that's been particularly correct, but he may still do it on lap 60, but I do think that would have been about 10 laps too late for the Williams. But either way, through all of this, through the pace we saw from the Williams in qualifying where they slaughtered the field, they are still not going to come home with a race winner, because the AlphaTauri of Lynx Peace seems to be likely to come home with that award. I don't know what Prez had for dinner, because whatever he had, he's been cooking here. 4th place, effectively 3rd, if he can keep up with Merc. And he is certainly keeping up with Merc. I mean, what a job he has done. Prez, a podium looks likely for the Mercedes. An unlikely podium, might I add, but even more unlikely once Merc got past him. And you would have thought maybe Mr. Poem had a chance to beat Prezi. Nope, not a chance. Prez has pulled a 4-second gap on Mr. Poem. Wow. Very good pace here from Prezi, I've got to say. Very, very impressed from the Mercedes to be up there in P4. Potentially getting a podium with 5 laps to go. Wow, what a job he has done. There's no close gaps elsewhere as well. 2 seconds continuing between Lynx and Hazer. Can Hazer pull in 1 second on Lynx to get himself in DRS range with some laps to go? Let's see what he's doing at the moment. He still stays out, but his tyres are going to be cooked. They'll be about 28 laps old come the end of the race, which not many people have tried 28 laps on the mediums. He might be the only one, in fact. So yeah, this minute, not ideal, really, for Hazer if he wants to win this race. But I don't know, he might have a bit more in his locker. What if he can push on a bit harder? He might have a chance. As Prez now has lost out. He's not got a DRS, and into turn 5. Oh, he's back in it. He's back in it. What is this, Prez? Incredible stuff. He lost DRS for a minute. He was 1.1 seconds behind. All of a sudden, he gets back within 9/10, and he gets DRS again. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. 4 laps remaining here, and Prez is all but set for a podium. Unless Merc can say something about it. Let's see what Merc can do though. 1 second is the gap again, but Merc, again, the gap is now 8/10 of a second. This is definitely the battle to watch. Watch out for Doug as well. He's catching up to Russell Bolt. Bolt's done very well to be up in P9, given that we've had no form of safety car, and he had to box twice earlier in the race to repair his front wing. He's done an amazing job as well to be up in P9. For me, I'll probably say he could be in a driver of the day candidate as well. To gain those places from all of those behind, no penalties, with no safety cars, to get P9 with 13 drivers potentially finishing, as Bloomer now receives a 30-second penalty. P9 would be a brilliant finish for Russell Bolt here. So we've now got 3 laps of racing to go. Lynx and Hazer still have a 2-second gap between them. It's no way Hazer can win this. Surely not. It's going to be the win. It's going to be a victory for Lynx Peace, unless Hazer could say something about it, which, at the moment, being realistic, he's not showcasing that at all. There's no suggestion, nothing at all, indicating that he is going to be in a position to win this, Hazer. The gap still remains at 2 seconds. Can he gain time here on the AlphaTauri? Of course, I know we're talking about that, but Prez is still in DRS range. Glue, meanwhile, is now within 9/10 of Mr. Poem, so we could have 2 or 3 battles for the final few laps in this race here. But one in particular is from this one. Prez still within a second of Merck. How he's able to do this on 24 lap old hard tyres is quite mesmerising. We got, what now it is, 3 laps to go. Lynx Peace and Hazer. And Lynx Peace and Hazer are out of turn 5. That is the gap they've got, more than 30 seconds to Merck and Prez. But Prez for me has been my standout driver of the day. For me, quite clear cut. For me, that would be what I'd feel. Glue does take Mr. Poem. And he's done it, heading into turns 18 and 19. Glue making the move, kind of out of nowhere, really, from the Aston Martin. But through he goes, and up into 5th place. Great piece of overtaking from him. Brewdog getting past the lapped car. That was late Bloomer. So nothing too major happening really on that in that department. Prez DRS on Merck once again, but still not overtaking him. But he doesn't need to. And Mr. Perm as well, right in there with Glue, heading into turn 7. Mr. Perm has 6 seconds of penalties. Glue, I believe, has 3 seconds. And there you go. That is indeed correct. So the gap to the leader is on. And the penalty situation is on as well for you. And we have really got 3 battles to watch. Hazer is slowly catching Lynx now. 1.6 seconds. Glue has been disconnected. Oh no, he's not going to be able to get back in, is he? Unless he could join off anyone in the lobby. Who can he join off? He could probably join... Oh, he can't. There's nobody on PC, I don't think. Can he join a Full Core Warrior, potentially? Oh, he has to be on EA to do that. I think he's on Steam. I don't think Glue can get back in the lobby, sadly, ladies and gentlemen. Which looks like he will lose out to Mr. Poem. They do have a little over a lap, about a lap and a half to go here. Or do they? Lynx and Hazer, they are on the penultimate lap. Merck has started the final lap, well, the penultimate lap, as has Prez. Poem does get through on Glue. Glue goes off track. The ghost of Glue is pitting. Oh no. Is he a reserve? Please tell me he's a reserve. I think he is a reserve. He's in the pits anyway. Don't get the strategies from the AI. Verstappen earlier, now it's Glue pitting on that lap. Mad. I don't know why. I mean, okay, Hazer's clearly got some sort of pace. Mr. Pueblo may beat Brewdog to a 5th place finish here. It will be close. The gap between them stands at about 6.5 seconds between Perm and Brewdog, and obviously Perm has a 6-second penalty. So the gap between that 5th place will be closed come the end of this. Still on a penultimate lap here, but we are getting close because through into turns 18 and 19, Lynx Peace here at the Marina Bay will start the final lap of the race at Singapore. Hazer in 2nd place, a gap 1.4 seconds. Hazer was trying to push on but is he in a position to challenge and threaten and destroy the AlphaTauri and take a win? Or will the AlphaTauri win again, but not the typical AlphaTauri, because Lynx is set to do it? 1.4 continues to be the gap here as Prezi Prez takes Merc. Incredible stuff. Prezi Prez is onto the podium. Absolutely amazing. What a race from Prezi Prez in the Mercedes as the top two continue to play battle here. A little bit deep there from Lynx Piece that could push Hazer a bit closer. They head round at turn 9, which leads them into the Singapore Sling down at turn 10. 1.4 seconds still the gap. Yellow flags for Volkor Warrior in the Ferrari, who loses out to Doug and may also lose out, but that's only late bloom behind, but he does lose out to Doug. And that will be close between them coming to the end of this race. The 1.3 seconds now between Lynx and Hazer. Make it 1.2. Has Hazer got a chance here of a win, or is Lynx pulling clear to take the win? Who takes the top honour here at the Marina Bay? 1.1 down to a second. Back up to 1.1 as the gap now. Hazer not making inroads because leading into turn 16 and 17 down through the final chicane. Lynx Pace is going to take it. He's going to come home. And they now head into turns 18 and 19 for a pivotal victory. Lynx Pace is going to do it in style for his second win in the 100% tier this season. He took home the victory down at Italy. He wins here this evening. Lynx is on the top step of the podium. Hazer comes through in second place. Just missing out in the Williams. But it is another win for the AlphaTauri, but not for Hazer, but for Lynx Piece instead. An absolutely incredible podium this will be for the Mercedes of Prezi Prez. He, for me, is my driver of the day. What a drive. Absolutely brilliant. Through goes the Mercedes of Prezi Prez, and he will be delighted at third place. What a result from him. Merc will come through. He actually goes through in the pit lane. A bit cocky, but fourth place nonetheless for Merc. Mr. Poem, is he going to lose out to Brewdog? Yes, he does. Brewdog takes home P5. Mr. Poem, P6. Rusted Bolt will take home P7. Doug comes through P8. Devsy P12. And Volkor actually takes Doug in P8. Devsy beats off Bloomer. Merc did actually finish the race, I might add. Diddy Friend needs to finish, and then I think it's Glue. But Glue obviously is not in the race. And that is it, actually. Diddy Friend goes through. But wow. Lynx Piece wins again for the second time this season in this tier, beating Hazer, who is on the podium for, let's have a little look, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, a 14th podium of the season for Hazer. 14 podiums. Wow. And then obviously Prezi Prez. What a drive from him. I'm going to get the impression that must be his first podium. What a phenomenal effort from Prezi Prez, and it is third place for him, and that is a superb drive. I mean, wow, the fact that there's no safety car, no virtual safety car, no nothing, not many yellow flags even. I think Late Bloomer had it a few times, Volkor had it, Glue had it. Again, not many. But Jesus, wow. Lynx Piece though. Brilliant win. Beating off Hazer by just over 1 second at the end. And it is P1. So the results are there. Lynx does win with Hazer P2. P3, and again, for me, driver of the day surely has to be Prezi Prez. He gets home P3. P4 is Merc. He did finish the race. Brewdog takes home P5. Mr. Poem is P6. Rusted Bolt is in P7. Volkor Warrior is P8. Doug is P9. Didi Friend is P10. There you go, and that is pretty much it with Glue P11, Devc P12, and Late Bloomer is P13. But yeah, wow, absolutely incredible race there. Especially from those on the podium, particularly for me, Prez was a standout display. But there you go, Link's Peace, second victory in this tier all season. I suppose he probably doesn't have many in Tier 1. Let's just have a little look. The Tier 1 standings. Let's see how many wins Lynx has in Tier 1. He's only got the one, so what's that? 3 wins all season, unless he's won in the international tier again. Let's just double check on that, shall we? He hasn't been racing a lot in the international tier this season, so he may not have picked up a win there yet. Oh, he did. He won twice there. So he's actually got 5 wins all season for Link's Peace. 2 in the international tier, 1 in the 100%, 1 in the tier 1, sorry. And he got 2 wins now in the 100% tier. There you go. That was the victory for Link's Peace. Podiums also on the board for Hazer and for Prez. No sound the whole race and now this disconnection. Yeah, oh, I didn't know you had no sound the whole race. I hate when the game does that, to be fair. That's very frustrating. So yeah, very unfortunate that, but the game does do that quite often, it seems. And yeah, unfortunate for the disconnection. And then the game pitted you for some reason. Don't ask me why. Similar to what it done with Verstappen, in all truth. The game pitted you for no reason at all. Anyways, that has been a 100% tier race. Let's have a look for the week ahead. Right, the calendar is it Spain tomorrow, I believe? Let's see. International tier then. Yes, indeed, it is the Spanish Grand Prix, 9 o'clock PM tomorrow night for the international tier. On Monday night, I'll be back in the comms booth here, and it will be at China for Tier 1. China. Oh, big race at Shanghai there. Tier 2, my championship battle with Ghost will live on through Las Vegas. That'll be at round 18. Tier 3, Wednesday night, will be at Monaco. Oh, wow, they've gone from Austria to Monaco. Big race there for them. Monaco for Tier 3. And then next week for the 100% tier, and it will be held at Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix. What can they do there? Tier 2 race that very recently as well, to be fair. So yeah, Japan for the 100% tier next Friday, same time, 8 o'clock PM. Anyways, I have been UFRL F1 Viva. We have been UFRL. That has been your 100% tier race with Link's Piece on top. Again, for the 5th time in total this season in all 3 tiers combined. Thank you for watching, and good night.